Hey folks, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're taking a look at the FH41 by GANZO. Fairly new. It came out this spring, late spring I think it was, and I've been playing with it for a while, and there was a good while that when I had this that I thought this was the perfect budget knife. There are a lot of positive things going for it, but like every other budget knife that I've ever had, I found some cons. And so there are some cons to this, but I think you want to watch this because there's a good chance you're going to want to add this to your list of must-haves, or at least want-to-haves. And at, just $25 US, give or take a little bit, depending on which version you get and depending on where you buy. That's not a bad price. And it depends on where you live too. If you're outside of North America, unfortunately, prices just go through the roof. This one's D2 steel, G10 with carbon fiber laminate, and they got solid G10 out as well. Good medium to large, not quite large size, handheld EDC style knife. If you're interested, stay tuned. The full review's coming at you right now. All right, the first thing we'll do, what we've been doing recently, is a little size comparison with the Ontario Rat 1. There it is, and here's this guy. So as you can see, it's a little bit smaller, not an awful lot. You've got like not even a 1/4 inch off the end of the handle. I'm lining up the pivot points. And then you've got, the cutting edge. It doesn't come quite as far, but the actual length of the cutting edge, if you mate up these spots on the tip right there, it's almost identical amount of cutting edge as a Rat 1 has. This guy's got D2 because it's the special series instead of OS 8. And this guy's got D2. So you want a D2 knife? Hey, this guy might be on your list. Let's go over the main parts of the knife, the handle and the blade and the pivot. Those are the main parts, right? The pivot includes the locking mechanism. For a blade style, we've almost got a spear point blade style. We've got a drop point here, and that angle of the drop point is almost the same as the belly here. Not quite, but fairly close. Full flat grind right up to the spine of the blade. Well, at least at there. Here we got a little bit of a flat, which makes it adequate to clamp onto a sharpening system. I really like this combination of full flat, but still enough of an area here to clamp onto. That's great. Very thin behind the grind. Superb sharpener's choil. A little bit of nice jimping here on where your thumb goes when you're holding it. Lockup is a liner lock. It does engage completely. It is maybe a little bit earlier than I'd prefer, but not by much. Actually, let me show you the close-up picture of that. And it's solid. I did a little bit of a spine whack test with a piece of wood, and it didn't come loose on me. And I whacked it about 30 times fairly hard. So I think lockup is adequate. We've got steel ball bearings. We've got a steel detent ball, and the action is very nice. You just have to give it a little bit of shake. I could make it looser, like that it falls down easier. But right now, there's no blade place side to side, up and down, and it falls down fairly easy. So that's not bad. Talking about the handle, we've got what I call a candy bar shaped handle. Basically, it's almost parallel lines between the spine and the belly of the handle. Not quite. It gets a little wider here than it is here. And nothing special going on here except for a little bit of a notch for your finger choil here. And, comfortable grip. The G10 only version has got a rounded spine instead of totally flat. And this actually is the first carbon fiber laminate from GANZO that only has carbon fiber on one side of each slab instead of also on the inside. When I show you the pictures of the inside, you might be able to see that the inside slab doesn't have any carbon fiber on it. So that's kind of cool. We've got a small back spacer, so it's, basically functionally the same to clean as one that's got an open pillar construction. Actually, I like back spacers better because you've got something to sweep against when you slide your cotton swab through there instead of having to go all the way around a post, around a few of them. Pocket clip is a deep carry pocket clip. Really nice design here to pick up the pants. and pull through. Big enough space here between the handle and the top there so that deep denim fits in there, so it slides all the way to the bottom every time, at least in my testing. A little bit of skeletonizing going on. We've got hidden liners, they're tucked in behind so you can't see them from here. I like tucked in liners and I like exposed liners. Either one, it's totally fine with me as far as the aesthetic goes. Just 3 little jimps on the back spacer here. Lanyard hole, totally adequate for 550 paracord in there. No problem at all. So that's the basics. Very comfortable in hand. When I've got my grip, this is the saber grip works very well. Fist grip works very well. The reverse grips are super comfortable. This is a very handy knife, and it's just because it's such a simple handle design, feels very, very comfortable. Like I said, the sharpness tool goes more than far enough out so that it's easy to sharpen this knife without, grinding into and sharpening into the plunge right there and making it look bad. The flipper tab, it might be a little bit small, but it doesn't need to be very big. There's a little bit of jimping on the front of it right there. Very easy to do the light switch method, pulling straight back, and it just flies out, no problem at all. And if you want to do the push button method where you're just pushing down a little bit, that works very well as well. Just on a slight angle you have to push, and that's all it takes. Easy enough to handle in the left hand, and easy enough to handle in the right hand. A little bit easier in the right hand, see? A little bit faster. Very comfortable. The ball bearings, are steel. There's small ones. I think there's 10 in there. I'll count them when I look at the inside pictures. Actually, let's do that right now. I'll show you the picture of it taken apart. I take every knife apart, and every knife that I review, I take it apart because I want to know what it's like. But I review it, I evaluate it and everything before I take it apart, because on this tiny chance that I break something when I take it apart, I want to be very familiar with it beforehand. So this thing worked very, very well. When I go to take it apart, I realize, okay, they got T8 Torx, T8 screw head on either side, but yeah, they've been doing locked pivot pins lately. No, this has got a free spinning pivot pin. Ganzo, what's going on? Come on, guys. This knife would have been so close to perfect, but now I have to do this. Yeah, I got to use that clamp to take this knife apart, which means I got to clamp it in so it's held in place, put 1 screwdriver on each side to take it apart. Could I do it with just 1 screwdriver? Yes. But it's more easy to make a mistake, to slip, to have an accident happen. And that's why I bought that vise to hold knives so that I could undo ones that have free spinning pivots. Thankfully, they didn't use any Loctite or anything in there, and it doesn't come loose while you're using it. Maybe that's because it's got the free spinning pivot pin so that the whole thing can turn in there instead of loosening off. That's one of the pros of free spinning pivot pins, but I'd rather it be a non-free spinning pivot pin. Okay, stop flicking it out while you're trying to talk, Jake. The lockup is kind of weird. Since they only have one side on laminate and the other side doesn't have laminate, why did they do this? They took away the G10 far enough way back off of the liner lock release. Most knives, they have got the G10 coming, the handle scale coming right to the edge there. Because when I push this over, there's no benefit to having the handle exposed right there. So that's just an aesthetic thing. So that's the third tiny thing. I know I haven't told you the second one yet. That's the third tiny thing. Many of you have figured out the second one already, especially if you're left-handed. So I think they should have just made that G10 come out right up in line with the liner lock release. And on this side, it's beautiful. It's back far enough so that when you want to get into this liner lock release, you can get at it very easily. I like that they chamfered it right there. So it's very easy to unlock this knife. So what was number 2? Well, for lefties, they want to have a pocket clip that they can put on the left side. On the G10 versions, they did the same thing. They failed to put a pocket clip on this side. It's kind of odd because some GANZO knives have it on both sides, some GANZO knives don't. It really doesn't make sense to me why they just don't do it on all of them. GANZO, if you're listening, put pocket clips on both sides. It's not that hard, especially on a handle that's this flat and straight. Yeah, some people might not like it, but put that little filler tab in there that you do sometimes, and then it's all good. Time for us now to go over all of the dimensions, measurements, all that information. The weight of this knife is 100 grams, 3.55 ounces. If that skeletonizing was a little bit more generous, it could have been 3.5 ounces. The sharpness of the cutting edge from the factory, 125 grams of pressure to push through the filament that I cut. That's very good. The length of the cutting edge, 8.66 centimeters, 3.41 inches. The length of the blade, so tip of the blade to the closest spot on the handle, 8.78 centimeters, 3.46 inches. The blade thickness, 3.39 millimeters, that's 0.1325, just slightly over 1/8 of an inch. The blade depth, it's actually biggest right about there on the belly, 2.45 centimeters, 0.963 of an inch. The thickness of the edge behind the grind is 0.32 millimeters, which is 0.0125. That's a little thinner than I prefer. I prefer around 0.5 millimeter, but being a full flat grind, if it's so thin that it gets damaged easily, just a couple sharpenings, well, maybe, like 7 or 8 sharpenings, and it'll be a little bit thicker on the steel, and that problem will go away. So D2 can be a little chippy. I haven't had it chip yet on me, and I did test it quite extensively with softwoods, with hardwoods, with cardboard, and cutting all kinds of other materials. And this is a beautiful slicer. I mean, it works very, very well. This is an excellent choice, to take along with your lunch or whatever. This is a man with a tight budget. It's his gentleman's folder. It's not really a gentleman's folder, of course, but for a guy with a tight budget, this replaces a gentleman's folder. It's very, very well done that way. Let's talk about the grind angle now. 21.8 degrees on the side with the GANZO logo and 18.6 degrees on this side. So that equals about 20 degrees per side, and that's what I'll do to it when I have to sharpen it the first time. It'll get a 20-degree mirror edge on both sides. So that's very good. The handle length, 11.46 centimeters, 4.51 inches. The grip area in here is about 10 centimeters, about 3.93 inches, about 4 inches. The handle thickness is 1.26 centimeters, which is 0.497, so basically 1/2 inch thick. The handle depth, it's biggest right back here, 2.43 centimeters, that's 0.958, so basically just about 1 inch. And then the depth when the knife is closed, it's biggest right about here, 2.72 centimeters, 1.07 inches. So there you go. It's a little bit over 1 inch, a little bit under 1 inch. The total length of this knife is right around 8 inches, 20.4 centimeters. So it's a good size knife, and especially at the price range. Oh, the balance point? Yeah, the balance point is just a little bit back of where I prefer. And by a little bit, I mean a very tiny, tiny, itty bitty bit. So basically, balance point is great. The price for this knife, the lowest price I could find is Power Cutlery in the United States. And they give it to you for $25.99 for the carbon fiber and $24.99 for the G10 version. But not only that, you can get another 5% off if you use coupon code CCE at checkout. So, and that's just for GANZO knives at Power Cutlery. Amazon's price is around $28, $29. And some other places that I found, DHgate, AliExpress, they're all $29, $30, $33 in that area. So you might as well buy it from the United States and get it mailed to you. I mean, it's already in country. If you're an American, most of my viewers are American. And, if you're Canadian, this may or may not get stopped by CBSA when it crosses the border. But at, 25 American shekels, that's not bad. That's not too bad of a risk, at least not for me. In Germany, it's about 37 euros, and I didn't find any supplier of this in Canada or Britain. So if you're in other places, you might just have to look for yourself. What are the unique features about this knife? There's nothing really unique about it. It's, maybe you could call it unique that they didn't put carbon fiber laminate on both sides. Big deal. Nothing special about this knife except for it's done very well. At this price point, it's hard to find a knife that's done better than this. With these materials, at this price point, and this smooth of action, and lockup so solid, it's going to be hard to find. Very clean design, excellent action, good lockup, very good detent. The detent holds it. And that was legitimate. I was trying to open it up by pinching right here. I got to get back here usually where I can get a better grip or pinch even harder. So it's not going to open in the pocket easily by accident. But when you want to open it up, she flies open. I like the really deep pocket clip. Oh, I didn't demonstrate that yet, did I? So pocket clip, it climbs over very easily and then goes right to the bottom very easily. There's lots of room in there for, your knife. And then you just got a tiny bit of exposed knife handle there. So I like that an awful lot. I already showed you the balance point, and the sharpener's choil is done very, very well. If I didn't show you a close-up of that, here you go. And the cons are the pocket clip isn't right and left, it's just right. But the pocket clip itself is done very, very well. And the only other con is that free spinning pivot. I really wish they'd put in a locking system. They could even make this side look nicer by not having to put in, the Torx screw head here, or slot for it. They could make this side really, really nice. And, well, it is really nice already, but even nicer. You can see that I've carried it for quite a while. Well, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. I've already marred up the carbon fiber here just a little bit because I've carried this knife a lot and it's been in and out of my pocket many, many times. I am enjoying this knife an awful lot. This might be, well, this is in my top 3 favorite Ganzos of all time. Yes, I like it that much. If you're in the market for one of these, check out Power Cutlery. Use my coupon code that lets the vendor know that you've been watching my channel. If you buy something other than a Ganzo product from Power Cutlery, let them know that Canadian Cutting Edge sent you so that my relationship with them continues to grow and blossom even better. And if you just like looking at this knife, but you're not in the market for it, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it with somebody. Hit that like button. If you're not yet a subscriber, consider subscribing and hit that bell so you'll be notified of future videos. I've got more Ganzo videos coming soon. And remember, guys, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb. And here's some bonus footage. These are probably my favorite Ganzo knives. Now, it changes a bit from day to day. It all really depends. The G704, I really hope they make a brand new FB version of this. Hope they make a D2 version, FH version of this knife. I bought it in every single color they put it out with. This is the only knife they put out with red G10, and it was the first knife they put out with blue G10, camo, green, black, orange. I had every single color. Unfortunately, I had to sell some when they were, when finances were really tight. But this knife got me hooked on Ganzo, the G704. If you can get it, and there are some places that have it, Power Cutlery I think still has some of these in some colors. It's got a bead blasted finish on the blade. I'd rather have stonewash. Notice none of these are stonewash. I really love stonewash. I wish Ganzo would do more stonewash, but stonewash would be even better. But it doesn't show prints very well, and it's non-reflective and very, very good knife. And this thumb riser makes it super comfortable, and you can use this knife very well. The chamfer up top here makes it easy to pierce into things if you need to. Very, very good knife. I like this an awful lot. This is the G722. I think they made an F722. This is a heavy frame lock knife. If you need to do some hard cutting and you want some weight in your hand to help you, work through stuff, do some really light chopping, This guy's an awesome job for that. You can get it in, I think, 3 different G10 colors. Orange isn't my favorite, but again, when money was tight, I sold off my favorites and kept ones that, you know, I wanted to keep some, so I had to keep this one. This one's really nice, the G738. It comes in G10 or a couple of wood finishes, and so I like the wood finish. It helps make it a little bit lighter and very, very comfortable. Again, that chamfer across the spine there helps make it something that, you know, pierces quite easily. This guy pierces super well. This is the G753, and this was when they were doing their anodized stuff. I wasn't too fond of them doing that anodization, but they put this knife out in 2 different sizes. They've got the G753M, which is a little bit smaller. But the good thing about all of these is the pocket clip goes both sides. You know, that's really, really good. And then the video that you just saw, pocket clip only one side, the FH41. So that's the little bonus part of the video. I knew you were asking when I said that this was going to be one of my favorite GANZO knives. So there you go. Have a good one.